Good evening, everyone. Dear friends of the Dhamma. So now we are starting our Wednesday guided meditation and discussion. Please join for the recitation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. The five precepts. Pānātipātā vēramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Adinādānā vēramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Kāmesu miccāchārā vēramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Musāvādā vēramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Surāmēraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vēramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dhamma, homage to the Sangha. The worthy one, fully enlightened one, perfectly enlightened one. Itipiso bhagavā arahaṃ sammā sambuddho vijjhācarana sampanno sugato lokavido anuttaro purisa dhamma sārati sattha deva manussānaṃ Buddho bhagavāti. Sākkhato bhagavata dhammo sandittiko akaliko ehi passiko opanayiko paccattaṃ veditabbo viññohiti. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Ñāyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Sāmīti patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Yadidaṃ cattārī purisa yugāni atta purisa puggalā. Esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho āhuneyyo pāhuneyyo. Dakkineyyo anjali karaniyyo anuttaraṃ puññakkettaṃ lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well, friends, now sit comfortably wherever you are. Straight your back and gently close your eyes. Pay your attention to the breath body. Breathe in meditation. Let go all other thoughts. Bring your mind to this moment and focus your breath body. Mindfully breathing in, mindfully breath out, gently and mindfully. I am breathing in long, I am breathing out long. Gently, please experience the breath body. Please continue with the loving kindness prayer meditation, sharing loving friendliness towards all living beings, including my family members, friends, in this country and out of this country. May all be well, happy and peaceful. May I be well, happy and peaceful. May I be well, happy and peaceful. May I be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to me. May I always meet with this spiritual success. May I also have courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in my life. May my family members be well, happy, and peaceful. May my relatives, may my friends be well, happy, and peaceful. May they always meet with spiritual success. May they also have courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in their life. May all indifferent persons, may all unfriendly persons be well, happy, and peaceful. May all in the United States be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to anyone. May all in this country, out of this country, in this planet, beyond this planet, be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to anyone. May all have happy minds. 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 May all be free from suffering. May all be free from jealousy, hate, delusion. May all have happy minds. May all have happy thoughts. May all living beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all living beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all living beings be well, happy and peaceful. Dukkhappatthā ca nidukkha bhayappatthā ca nibbaya sokappatthā ca nissokha hantu sabbe pipanino dukkhappatthā ca nidukkha bhayappatthā ca nibbaya sokappatthā ca nissokha hantu sabbe pipanino Dukkhappatthā ca nidukkha bhayappatthā ca nibbaya sokappatthā ca nissokha hontu sabbhe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief, so too may all beings be. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Please turn to page number 47. Page number 47, Discourse on Loving Friendliness. One is skilled in good, wishing to attain that state of peace, should act thus. One should be able, straight, upright, obedient, gentle, and humble. One should be content, self-support, with pure duties, living lightly, controlled in senses, discreet, not impudent, and attached to families. One should not do any slight wrong which the wise might censure. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long or large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone in you, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment. Whether standing, walking, or sitting, lying down, or whenever awake, one should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here. Not falling into narrow views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures, one comes never again to birth in the womb. By the power of this truth, may I always have well-being. By the power of this truth, may I always have well-being. By the power of this truth, may you always have well-being. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you everyone. All right, we have been talking the discourse of Samadhi Sutra. I hope you all remember last session or last Wednesday we discussed and we read the sutra, and today we are continuing this Samadhi Sutra. Let me share the screen. Okay. Now we are reading the Four Noble Truths. Can everyone see the screen? James?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, thank you. The Four Noble Truths. So I hope you might remember, so we discussed the greed, hate, and delusion. These three words. Venerable Sariputta explained to a certain group of monks this particular teaching. This entire teaching of the Buddhism is we focus to overcome or realize the greed mind and hate and delusion. So by realizing, we can see the things as it is, right? Realization brings the truth. Realization is, this mind is always, so we give a food to mind. Like, the word asava means through the sensation, we through our eyes, we contact and we see the pictures and we hear the sounds. So both we've been creating thoughts. And in mind, so when in mind we reproduce the many different type of thoughts. So it is very important to know the reality, the truth, how my mind is behaving according to my observations, according to my experiences, according to my knowledge, so forth. So we investigate, right, this sort of things. So what happened? So we able to see the things as it is, not the fantasy, not the mirage. So we see the reality, right? Venerable Sariputta addressed the monk, and he explained these teachings to for the group of monk. Okay, so far we are reading the Four Noble Truths today. Saying, good friend, the bhikkhus delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta words. Then they asked him a few further questions. But friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dhamma? There might be friends. When friends, a noble disciple understands suffering, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the way leading to the cessation of suffering. In that way, he is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dhamma. And what is suffering? What is the origin of suffering? What is the cessation of suffering? What is the way leading to the cessation of suffering? Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are suffering. Not to obtain what one wants is suffering. In short, the five aggregates affected by clinging are suffering. This is called suffering. All right. The Four Noble Truth is the fundamental teaching of the Buddhism, is describing how this unsatisfactoriness arises in our mind and how we overcome it, how we realize it in this life, right? So, this mind, like emotional mind and thinking mind, today I got this question. And emotional mind, the nature of this mind is emotional. And by thinking mind, so what we develop is, through this investigation, we could develop our thinking process. It means a cognitive mind, cognitive mind, the highest state of our mind, cognitive mind. So the cognitive mind, it's a kind of developed mind, and rather than the emotional mind. Emotional is that, animal and every being has emotions. They behave according to their emotions. But when we apply to thinking mind, a knowledge mind, so then we can control, or we can see our emotional behavior of our mind. Make sense what I mean? Okay. emotional behavior. So unless, that's why important to know this emotionally. Emotional mind is like, generally we talk anger, hate, and what else? Fear, right? And jealousy. Everything is emotional. you know, Emotional. And how we can, through by applying the thinking mind, we can see this emotional mind, thinking mind. It's we thinking mind considered as like you must have a wise attention, you must need like realization. So sometimes you would surprise how, oh yeah, definitely, when you do this research, what happened to us, what happened to me? So gradually my mind is able to see the things as it is, not the uh, mm, fantasy, I mean, not the unreal, the real things I can see, reality of the nature of the changes, right? So suppose we do this, we could see this, the thinking mind, thinking process, right? Uh, the Four Noble Truth is the fundamental teaching. Four Noble Truth describe what is the suffering. So what is this suffering? What is this changes? Unsatisfactory. What does the unsatisfactory mean by? So, Four Noble Truths. So, in the Sutra Satyapathana, it's discussed this particular topic, how to overcome the suffering. You know, in this sutra, it's discussed the how what is suffering mean, and what is suffering, and what is the origin of suffering, what is the cessation of suffering, what is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are suffering. Not to obtain what one wants is suffering. In short, the five aggregates affected by clinging are suffering. Clinging, because of clinging, the suffering cause. Right? Clinging, we, very much attached to it. So sometimes this mind, we don't need, we don't need to change it. Aging, suppose we don't need to, aging is suffering because sometimes, oh, I it's associate something not pleasant. Excuse me, not pleasant means suffering. Yeah, when we get sick, we go to the doctor. The doctor the doctor first find out our illness. He then finds out what has caused it. He decides what the cure is. Finally, he prescribes the medicine that will make us well. The Buddha showed that there is a suffering in the world. In the same way, he explained the cause of suffering. He taught that this suffering could be ended. Finally, he showed the way leading to the end of suffering. The good doctor tells us what is wrong with us, what the cause of the illness is, that there is a cure for the illness, what we should do to get well. The Buddha tells us the truth about the presence of suffering, the cause of suffering, the end of suffering, the way to end suffering. Okay, and the Four Noble Truth is good medication. to understand the changes, and we can accept it by realizing session. And okay, and what is the origin of suffering? It is craving, which brings renewal of being, is accompanied by delight and lust, and delights in this and that. That is craving for sensual pleasures. Craving for being and craving for non-being. This is called the origin of suffering. So what is the root of suffering? Root is craving, desire. Endless desire. This mind is expecting always food. We are producing food to this mind through the senses. It's endless desire sometimes. So we're expecting different events, and suppose we are expecting, so this is the nature of our mind. And desire, accompanied by delight and lust, and delight in this and that. That is craving for sensual pleasures, craving for being, craving for sensual pleasures. Now, this life, nature of this mind is like to have kind of different experiences, like pleasantful feelings. Everyone like it. Yes, it is. But the thing is, problem is, we cannot keep our pleasantful feelings as it is, as I wish. That's the cause of suffering. Then this mind get, crazy because of this change. Sometimes, we don't accept these changes. So what we do, we temporarily forget it, and temporarily doing something, different activities, different events to forget that. We don't. The reality is we have to accept it, and by understand it and accept it, right? So desire, it's very powerful word, desire. And what is the cessation of suffering? It is the remainless fading away and ceasing, the giving up, relinquishing, letting go and rejecting of that same craving. This is called the cessation of suffering. And what is the way leading to the cessation of suffering? It is just this noble eightfold path. That is the right view, right concentration. This is called the way leading to the cessation of suffering. When the noble disciple has thus understood suffering, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the way leading to the cessation of suffering, he here and now makes an end of suffering. In that way, to a noble disciple is one of right view and has arrived at this true Dhamma. Okay, let me stop sharing. And the Venerable Sariputta explained to this group of monks this, not knowing means not knowing the Samma, knowing the Four Noble Truth is, he or doesn't have a right view. Right view, one who have a right view would able to see the Four Noble Truth as it is, and the suffering and cause of suffering, cessation of suffering, how to the path to cessation of suffering. So all these four factors taught us how to end this suffering by realizing. Okay, we can continue this lesson, and I would happy to know if you have a question. Please let me know. And it is very important to talk the emotional part of our mind. Sometimes it comes, uh, emotional part is covered our, always we have to develop, we want to develop our thinking part. Thinking part is lead us the reality, not the emotional part. Emotional part is that we can realize what the emotional part, emotional mind. Okay. So thinking mind, when we develop our thinking mind process, we can see our emotional mind as well. Okay. Emotional mind, how I as I said to you, jealousy, hate, anger, and dissatisfactoriness and unpleasant feelings, uh, unhappiness, everything is emotional. emotional emotional mind. But when you realize it by using your thinking mind, you know how to behave accordingly. uh, you know well how your mind is behave. uh, you know so that is why it's samma ditti, means the right view is developing our thinking mind, developing our uh, you know uh, we can see, we can have a good knowledge, means through by using our wise attention, and we can see the things as it is. So we can see the Four Noble Truths, we can see the Eight Noble Path, so right view and right livelihood and so forth. Okay. If you have questions.
Bante?
Yes, Jen, I can hear.
Oh. We have a, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I had a problem with the audio. So I think I asked you this question before. Um, the Satipatthana on, I have a train going by, so just give me a minute. We live in the city, so we're outside. Okay. So the Satipatthana, a practitioner on the path, when approaching right view, the practitioner would be on a Satipatthana of the body at this level still, correct? Or are they heading into Satipatthana of feelings?
Uh, you know, uh, the first step of the Satipatthana Sutra describe establishment mindfulness of the body. So we gradually we trying to investigate our body, and by using our body we concentrate, we develop our concentration level or awareness. So in through this, so we investigate what is this body mean, who am I, you know, uh, all the parts of the body. In I hope you might remember there is a section uh, we we learn the body parts, all the body parts. Why do we learn this? It is very important to finally we realized who am I, my mind. I want to destroy this concept, I, my mind, is kind of attachment, great attachment. In the Satipatthana Sutra, is teach us what does mean this body, and aware this body. By using this awareness, we can, mindfully we can see this body and we can develop our awareness as well at the same time. So in the first step, very clearly describe us what this body means. So this is gradually in this sutra we take us to the end of the realizing of this body. Finally, what happened? Raga, dosa, moha. No attached to this body, no attached to, it's, so I'm the part of this nature, and this body is arised, and it would, at any time, it would disappear, subjected to change at any time. So therefore, it's very important to have a good knowledge of the body. Body is help us to develop our concentration level, because by using our postures and so moving, and so insight investigation is the best way to develop our awareness.
I'll just share that when I first started practicing Satipatthana of the body, I actually, I'm somebody that spent so much time in my mind that I never really took the time to feel what was going on in my body. And I actually had to write a worksheet out that whenever I was upset about something or triggered, I didn't really know where it was coming from. So I would stop and sit down and try to accept the moment exactly the way it is. You mentioned acceptance earlier, which is a key word. And then by accepting the moment exactly the way it is, I could relax the body enough to calm down, to then watch with the mano mind, my thinking mind, watch the emotions that were arising and how they were arising. It's almost like, our mind and body is so connected, as we talk about, that the body is sometimes in the way of seeing the actual emotions. And then by watching the emotions arise, you can see where the suffering and the impermanence and the, non-self kind of come in. So it was so helpful for me, and I still practice. As a matter of fact, today we have worksheets in our home that the kids use, and Patrick use, and I, whenever we're in a situation, and we sit down and fill it out, and it's been great. So I just wanted to share that.
Okay,
Thank you.
That's great. Very good comments. I'm very happy to hear that that you are investigating this mind process, emotional mind and thinking mind, and through this process, through this work, we always are able to see the things as really. And I'm very happy to hear that. Very good to share your thoughts in this investigation. Thank you very much, Jane.
Yeah, no, I guess I just didn't understand how much the body is in the way. I didn't really appreciate until I started practicing and actually using Satipatthana, of how much the body is tied to it, and how it really was a game changer for me practicing Satipatthana. And then it did, I think that more and more I have a better understanding of right view through that. So I was just kind of wondering what your thoughts were of how Satipatthana of the body and the right view are tied. So thank you.
Yeah, I think you might know that the Satyapathana Sutra is very clearly describe about this body. By using this body, number one is we can develop our awareness. Number two, we deeply investigate this body. What is this body? And postures and body parts and so forth. We investigate this body, and at the end, the realization, we detach from this body. It means desire. So cause of desire is cause of suffering. The suffering cause desire. So sensual pleasure is kind of attachment. Sensual pleasure by using our senses. It means senses means our body. By using our senses, we been creating thoughts, right? So we attach to it, we cling to it. In order to detach, so we investigate at the very beginning, what is this mind? What is this body? What is this body? The second step is feelings. How I observe how feelings come into mind by seeing or by hearing something. So, in the first step is help us to develop our awareness, and also at the same time we investigate what is this body means. So therefore, finally, we gradually, at the fourth steps, establishment of phenomena, the Dhamma is teaching us to detach this body. It means full realization, all the sensation and of this body, and we can realize it. So it would help us to destroy thinking as I, me, my, mine. Okay, I, my, mine. So conventionally we think so, but it's not the absolute truth. If it is I, if it is my mind, so it would be, I could keep as I wish, but it can do so, right? Because it's the very simple example, because ever changing, everything is ever changing, so I cannot stop it. So therefore it's not the absolute truth, but I'm conventional, I think this is my mind, me, but not the absolute truth. So body, in Satyapathana Sutra, the establishment mindfulness of the body bring us awareness, at the same time teach us what's this body mean. Okay. All right, thank you very much for the questions, and we will continue this lesson on next Wednesday. Same sutra, Sammaditthi, right view, the right view of Four Noble Truths, right view of emotional thinking, right view of thinking mind, and right view of the exact meaning of the suffering. So everything is including into this section. Okay, so far today we discussed the Four Noble Truths, and on next day we can discuss more on this topic, right? And please stay for a moment. Now I'm going to stop the YouTube live. Thank you those who joining us today. See you on next Wednesday, everyone. Stay safe, and good night, everyone.